I would like to start by giving a round of applause to the parents, the families, the friends of our graduates. So now that our faculty and candidates for the degrees are all seated, I would like to ask the student greeters to please come forward. They will give you greetings in 9 different languages.
Hello, my name is Ioana Sana, and I will be greeting you in Romanian. Bine ați venit la graduarea de 2013 de școala UCLA Luskin School of Public Affairs.
Hello, my name is Jumbo. I'm going to speak Mandarin. 中国家长们，你们好，我要讲中文啊！欢迎来到加州大学洛杉矶分校公共事务学院的毕业典礼。
Hello, my name is Winno, and I will be greeting you in French. Bienvenue à la 2013 cérémonie de remise de diplôme à UCLA École de Public Affairs.
Hello, my name is Masashi Sato. I will greet you in Japanese. 2013年 UCLA ラスキンスクール公共政策大学院の卒業式へようこそ。
Good morning, my name is Jocelyn and I will be greeting you in Cantonese. 歡迎各位嚟參加2013年加州洛杉磯大學 Luskin 公共事務學院嘅畢業典禮。
Hello, my name is Adriana Campos, and I will be greeting you in Spanish. Buenos días. Es un honor darles la bienvenida a la ceremonia de graduación de la escuela UCLA Luskin, Escuela de Asuntos Públicos, clase 2013. Gracias.
Hi, my name is Kit Ho Jenkins, and I'll be greeting you in Vietnamese. Xin kính chào quý vị tới tham dự commencement UCLA Luskin School of Public Affairs.
Hello, my name is Jared, and I will be greeting you in German. Guten Morgen und herzlich willkommen zur diesjährigen Abschlussfeier der Luskin Schule für Öffentlichkeitsarbeit an der UCLA.
Hello everybody, my name is David Cho and I will greet you in Korea. 안녕하세요. 오늘 2013년 UCLA 공공정책 졸업식에 와주신 여러분 환영합니다.
Thank you very much, student greeters. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Dean, Franklin D. Gilliam Jr.
Good morning. And welcome. Welcome to the families. Welcome to the students. Welcome to our faculty. Welcome to our friends and UCLA Luskin broader family. Today is an exciting day. Here at UCLA Luskin, it marks the end of another successful school year, and we're always, of course, ecstatic when we make it through another one. I'd like to start by welcoming some special friends of the school today who have joined us, and honored to introduce my friends Meyer and Rini Luskin. Meyer, Rini, wave to the nice people. I want to take a moment to address the students directly. I don't have to tell you how exciting of a day it is. Through this week, I've spoken to the students in all 3 departments on their celebratory nights, and I'll be a little bit more formal today. But, and for the planners, I don't have orange socks on today. But your presence here today is a testament to the hard work, the creativity, the dedication, and the ingenuity you've displayed in your studies. My colleagues and I on the faculty congratulate you on your outstanding academic performance. Your achievements in the classroom have been impressive. You've received very, very rigorous scholarly training. You've contributed to groundbreaking research. You have been part of a process that seeks to generate new knowledge. And in the collaboratives with your faculty and your colleagues, you have expanded the boundaries of our understanding, uncovered new areas of inquiry, and for that, we are all grateful. What truly stands out for me, however, is the work you've done beyond the classroom, the work that you have done in the so-called real world that you'll enter tomorrow. Each one of you has become adept at applying theoretical concepts to real-world problems, and you've done it with a mix of scholarly intent and common sense. And you've figured out how to craft solutions and overcome obstacles. So what kind of work have you been doing? You've figured out things such as the support systems that are necessary to address mental health needs of undocumented youth. A group of you went to Sendai, Japan, as I did and Professor Takahashi did, to understand the policy issues at play in the rebuilding of Sendai after the tsunami, and figure out what the real concerns were. And I think the Japanese were very both impressed with you, but also learned a great deal as you approach these problems from a different perspective. You've participated in a day-long workshop showing over 200 East LA high school kids how planning can help their neighborhoods. And I could go on and on with these research projects and applied projects, but my point is that you've taken the theoretical and conceptual frameworks that have been constructed and exposed to you by our faculty and taken them out in the real world and learned how to apply them. And I think it's this drive to find a way to mix the theoretical and the practical that makes UCLA Luskin a unique place. In higher education and the discourse about it, the public discourse, there's always this discussion of, well, is it relevant to the real world? Are places like UCLA teaching students, providing students with the skills that are relevant for the real world? Well, I can't speak for the rest of the university necessarily, but what I can say is UCLA Luskin does that, and does that at the highest levels. I'm always fond of, I have two sort of ways to articulate this. The first is that we work at the intersection of where scholarship meets the street, And my second one is even a little more interesting, and that is we work at the intersection of beautiful theory and ugly fact. In other words, we strive to look beyond the abstract and really look to the here and now. Obviously, at least to us at UCLA Luskin, it is not enough to learn the history of a particular region or the circumstances that lead to a particular community's condition, but we're making sure that we take that knowledge and figure out ways to apply it to future solutions. And as a result, each of you has demonstrated your determination and your commitment to working for the greater good, and that's what's gotten you here today. As you go out to take the next steps in your lives, it is important to keep that determination close to your heart. Don't forget the importance of serving those that are underserved. Don't forget to advocate for those who have no voice. More importantly, don't be afraid to be able to stand up to convention, to challenge the status quo, to question what we used to say in the old days, question authority, and to speak truth to power. And I've been saying this all week at the departmental celebrations, but I want to put a punctuation point on it or an exclamation point on it here today. And that is to remember to lead, to be leaders. When you leave UCLA Luskin, we urge and in many ways demand that you become leaders in your communities, in your fields, in your organizations. Take what you've learned here, both in a scholarly way and in a practical way, and lead. We need you to be the future leaders that solve some of society's most pressing problems. Lead, lead, lead. Finally, remember the words of British philosopher Bertrand Russell, who wrote, and I quote, "It may seem to you conceited to suppose that you can do anything important toward improving the lot of mankind. But this is a fallacy. You must believe that you can help bring about a better world. A good society is produced only by good individuals. Everybody can do something toward creating in his, and I'll add her, own environment, kindly feelings rather than anger, reasonableness rather than hysteria, and happiness rather than misery." Unquote. You've made it here today because of your belief in and compassion for a better world. And you've been driven by this sense of justice that says, I can leave the world a better place than I found it. You know, I always have this corny saying, what's the mission of the Luskin School? And that is to change the world. Change the world. And I think the Russell quote is essentially saying, you know, it's not conceited to believe you can change the world. And if not us, who? And all that stuff that they say, if not when, now. But I think you get my point, and I think Russell expresses it. Finally, those of us here on the stage today, your faculty, believe in you. We stand behind you, we support you, and as the newest members of our UCLA Luskin alumni community, you are joining a global community of scholars, activists, problem solvers, and advocates that now number in the thousands. So we look forward to staying in touch with you. We look forward to learning of your achievements and bragging about your achievements as you go out into your careers. And finally, I just want you to know how proud of you we are. And I want to express a special thanks to the families of our students today. As the father of a college student, I deeply understand how much role family plays in student success. I know that you all sitting here today up in the top and here through the audience have helped support your sons and daughters and grandchildren and children and nephews and nieces. And I just want to thank you for supporting it. And I think students, you ought to give your family and friends a round of applause. So in closing, congratulations, savor the day, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean Gilliam. So now I would like to ask Chair Michael Stoll to come to the podium for the presentation of the Public Policy Student Award and introduction of this department's student speaker.
Thank you, Associate Dean. Good morning. The powers that be have asked us to be brief in the presentation of the Student of the Year Award. Well, shall we question that authority? The Department of Public Policy selects the Student of the Year based on a number of factors, including stellar academic performance, exemplary leadership, and outstanding citizenship. And this year, we select Aaron Steva. Would Aaron please come to the stage? On behalf of the Department of Public Policy faculty and staff, congratulations to you in winning this award. It is also my privilege to bring to the stage the Department of Public Policy student speaker. And this is an outstanding young man who, in many ways, has been a trailblazer in unique ways for our department. So now I would like to bring to the stage David Cho.
Good morning. First and foremost, congratulations to the class of 2013. Family members, friends, and guests, it is a huge honor and privilege for me to represent my class before you all today. If you asked me what I'd be doing at this very moment 15 years ago, I probably would have said anything but giving a commencement speech at UCLA. In fact, I probably wouldn't have even understood your question because 15 years ago, I couldn't speak any English. Like many of you here, or your parents, or your grandparents, or your great-grandparents, my family and I came to the United States 15 years ago in hopes of achieving the American dream. And as the first one in my family to graduate from college right here at UCLA and also receive my master's degree today, I am proud to say that I have achieved one of my American dreams. But like with anything in life, my journey to this day wasn't always rainbows and butterflies. In fact, when I first came to the United States at the age of 9, I had a very difficult time adjusting to the new environment where I was both physically and verbally abused by bullies in school. Kids used to call me names and make fun of me because I couldn't speak any English. But Who would have thought that only a little more than a decade later, I'd be standing right here before you, proud to say that I was actually the teaching assistant for a UCLA graduate course level called American Political Institutions. And like many of the immigrant families that are here today, or any families for that matter, my family often struggled to make ends meet. My dad worked at a gas station during regular hours and graveyard shifts, barely sleeping about 4 to 5 hours a day. My mom's had several jobs over the years as a cashier, kindergarten teacher, and babysitter. I used to work 30 to 40 hours a week tutoring high school students while I was in college, and sometimes even slept on my friends' couches, inside their closets, or even at the UCLA library right across from here, because I couldn't afford paying for rent at a place near UCLA. And I could have easily given up on my dream of attending graduate school, knowing that I didn't have the means to pay for my tuition. But I applied to the Luskin School anyway because I didn't want the sacrifices of my parents to go in vain. And it was here where I met Mr. and Mrs. Luskin, the dean, the chair, professors, Maciek, Dan, Nancy, Stacy, and the donors who gave me the opportunity to achieve my American dream. It was here at Luskin where I gained the policy knowledge and the analytical skills that I will need in order to create positive change in our country. And it was here where I also had the opportunity to learn about policy issues that are directly affecting our community. And I got to see them in action at Skid Row and at the Port of Los Angeles. As part of my final capstone project, I helped Los Angeles County Chief Executive Office design an agency that will oversee the Sheriff's Department to create greater transparency in our government agencies. But this commencement isn't about me. It's about the class of 2013, a class full of leaders and change agents who I know will make a difference at the local, state, federal, and even at the global level. In fact, I probably wouldn't have been able to complete my capstone project without the help of my friends, Brandon Dowling and Erica Quintana. Brandon was one of 4 Luskin students to be a Rosenfield Fellow this year, and he worked at the Los Angeles County Chief Executive Office, marketing for the Affordable Care Act, and was also a recipient of the Best and Brightest Scholarship from the Millennium Momentum Foundation. My other teammate, Erica, worked at United Way of Greater Los Angeles to fight against chronic and veteran homelessness in our county. While I can't speak about everyone in our class given the time that I have, there are others like Cody Renault, who was not only a student leader here at Luskin, but also a key player in the mayor's office. He helped transform the way LA and its residents interact through projects like mobile applications to connect people with the city and identification cards for undocumented immigrants. Last night, Cody and his Applied Policy Project teammates received the distinction of highest honors at the award ceremony. So give it up for them. Lastly, to just name a few, Lindsay Miracle and Alexandra Mendoza worked in Africa over the summer to help complete 10 socio-economic projects, ranging from the construction of a central hospital in Malawi to the construction of boreholes to increase access to water for villages. They spoke in front of 500 women who walked 7 miles to share their village's need for grassroots organizing and governance. Now, parents, family members, and friends, every single person graduating here today has an equally powerful voice and story and the skills to change the world for the better. And I want to let you know you're looking at some of the most exceptional and the finest leaders of our country right here today. But we all know that we wouldn't be here without your hard work and your sacrifices over the years. So this ceremony is also for you and a chance for us to say thank you. Now, class of 2013, as we cross this stage, let us remember the privilege of receiving this degree as it represents our duty to make a difference in this world. With the rigorous training that we have received here, I am fully confident that we can improve the lives of thousands of people across this nation and help them achieve their American dreams. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, David. And now I would like to ask Chair Todd Franke to come to the stage, to the podium, for the presentation of the Social Welfare Student Award and introduction of this department's student speaker.
Good morning to you all. This year, the recipient of the Social Welfare Student Award is Anna Miller. Next, I would like to introduce Kit Ho Jenkins, who will give the student address for social welfare.
Hi, everybody. I'll start with a thank you to the Luskins, Dean Gilliam, the Social Welfare Chair, Professor Franke, and all the faculty and staff. And also thank you to all the families, friends, and partners out there. We could not have done it without you. There are just not enough words of gratitude to really express how we really feel today. So, a few weeks ago, I stumbled across a New Yorker essay that contemplated the impossible decision of whether or not to go to grad school, and described it as an epistemically transformative decision. The author writes, "Sometimes you can't know what something is like until you try it. You can't know what Vegemite tastes like until you try Vegemite. You can't know what having children will be like until you have children. You can guess what these things will be like, you can ask people, you can draw up lists of pros and cons, but at the end of the day, without having the experience itself, you cannot even have an approximate idea as to what it is like to have that experience. That's because you won't just be having the experience will be changing you. On the other side, you'll be a different kind of person. Making such a decision as going to grad school, you will always be uninformed," end quote. We today, sitting here, all made an uninformed decision to say yes to UCLA, thereby entering into an unknown of endless possibilities of who we would be today. And it's inexplicable to others what this experience was like, but we were transformed by it. I look back at that uninformed decision to say yes, and I'm so glad I did it because I got to be a part of this spectacular cohort. A cohort that can't be described by any other word but unsatisfied. And I mean that in a good way. We are unsatisfied by this world and dissatisfied by the injustices in it, so we've learned to fight back, to be fearless. We took unsatisfaction and instead made change happen. We learned to be useful. We are unsatisfied by our own dissatisfaction, so we've learned to be kind to one another and to ourselves. You all taught me by example these lessons I share with you today to take with you into your next adventure. First, be fearless. Ignore the pounding hearts, the sweaty palms, and the nagging doubts. Instead, charge ahead. Maybe that means raising your hand and being that person to challenge the system again and again. Or taking the risk of being vulnerable by sharing a piece of your story. That fearlessness gives voice to those who have been alienated by homophobia, transphobia, racism, misogyny, and other forms of oppression. This has galvanized us to be even more committed to knowing our past, being better allies, and working towards even more equality. In those moments when you take that risk to put yourself out there, you inspire. Second, be useful. Dig into the unsatisfaction, think of solutions, offer to help, and lead. I don't need to tell this cohort what it means to be useful, because we have had more events, meetings, liaisons, Facebook study sessions, and coffee date collaborations than any other time in my life. We led the changes we wanted to see, including the first ever peer-to-peer orientation called Tips, Tools, and Truths. We banded together and successfully pressured the clothing store Gap to stop selling a racist t-shirt. We conducted research, including a first-of-its-kind study on the intersectionality between being Asian or Pacific Islander and queer. We started our own web pages to share social work resources, and we clamored for more education on such topics as child trafficking, immigration, political leadership, and military social work. And that's just a partial list of what we've done in just 2 short years. So continue to be a part of something, be useful, lead. And third, be kind. We all have felt beaten down at least once in this process, horrified by the broken systems, wanting to just cry. But there was someone out there to give us a hug, to cheer us on, and to reinstill our confidence, reminding us that there is hope and that we are needed to make goodness in the world. We've refused to stay unsatisfied or dissatisfied and continue to bolster each other up. So keep reaching out and being kind to one another, because only another social worker can fully understand the work we do. But also remember to be kind to yourself. On those hard days, remember you, as a social worker, give voice to the voiceless. Therefore, you are not only important, but necessary and valued. So take those moments to celebrate the goodness in us and what life has to offer. Make time to have fun, climb the Hollywood Hills, hula hoop, or maybe even sing a little Spice Girls. That essay was right. The decision to go to grad school has been epistemically transformative. We leave UCLA today a different person than when we started, in ways we can't quite explain. So now, as we begin our lives as officially Masters of Social Work, let us remain emboldened by our persistent unsatisfaction and remember to be fearless, to be useful, and to be kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiet. And now I would like to call Chair Lois Takahashi to come to the podium for the presentation of the Urban Planning Award and introduction of this department's student speaker.
I'm working through the cue book. Probably should have read this before. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. I'm not really quite awake yet, but I will do my best here. It's my pleasure and privilege to present today the Dean's Award for Overall Excellence in the Department of Urban Planning. And the recipient of that award is Chloe Green. I said a lot more at our big celebratory party, so, which they all heard. All right, now I have the distinct pleasure and privilege to introduce our speaker, Ricky Russell, who will be giving the address for the Department of Urban Planning.
Wow. Well, allow me to start with a hearty congratulations to the Luskin class of 2013. Not only have you earned an education at one of the world's most prestigious institutions, but you have done so under some impressive circumstances. All of your accolades were accomplished in an environment of ever-tightening budget constraints. Among the circumstances and realities of studying in Los Angeles, which is no easy feat, and at one of the few UC campuses where it's impossible to get a stiff drink. By enduring such difficulties and persevering, you're better for it, so give yourself a hand. To my fellow urban and regional planners, I owe a personal congratulations. You're soon about to enter the world with a verifiable planning degree. Now, what to do with that hard-earned credential, the million-dollar question? Well, to that end, I'd like to let our distinguished speaker, Fred Ali, know that I will be leaving my resume up here, if you'd care to review it. For the rest of us, however, I'll touch on the significance of this credential in a moment. But keeping with planning tradition, allow me to get there by starting somewhere seemingly unrelated with an anecdote about culture shock. So culture shock, for the non-anthropologists among us, was a term popularized by field ethnographers, not to describe the unfamiliarities of a foreign culture, but to get at the dread one felt when returning home from afar. When relocating from El Salvador to West Los Angeles 2 years ago, to say that I suffered from a bit of culture shock is an understatement. This existential angst, no doubt exacerbated by the strange habits of my fellow neighbors in Beverly Hills, even lasted a bit longer than the Peace Corps shrinks said it would, to the point where I was questioning the wisdom of my transition, my career choice, and even my place at UCLA. It wasn't until the end of my first quarter of studies that I came to realize that UCLA and the profession of urban planning was going to be a good fit. Like so many moments of revelation in Los Angeles, this change of heart was due to police intervention. You see, while lecturing my peers on the important dimensional biases of pedestrian travel from the top of a streetlight, I was unceremoniously escorted back down to ground level by Santa Monica's finest. When asked just what the hell I was doing, quote the officer, I responded, "It's okay, officer. I'm an urban planner." To my surprise, this answer worked. And rather than a free tour of Santa Monica's award-winning security apparatus, I was sent on my way. "It's okay, officer. I'm an urban planner." I repeated to myself and realized I had chosen the right line of work. For as this incident illustrated, as a few other future case studies conducted with the Sheriff's Department, LAPD, and the dedicated security team of CityWalk, the profession of urban planning provides us with a unique opportunity to cause trouble. Yet these opportunities that planning provides us aren't just relegated to the incidences described in police blotters. For as you see in the past 2 years, UCLA has taught us where they keep the rule books. Or as the examples of my peers have excellently underscored, the ways planning affords us to cause trouble really have no end. To cite only a few instances, I've seen my fellow classmates investigate wage theft, commit excellent examples of civil disobedience, hold Metro's feet to the fire over gender issues, and overtake neighborhood councils. When someone actually gives us the key to the room where they keep the important things, imagine what we'll be able to accomplish. And so these examples bring me around to a key point I'd like to make about trouble. What our education at UCLA has provided us is not only the opportunity to cause trouble, but the obligation. As I don't need to remind all of you, the atmosphere is damn near spent. Inequality is fast approaching feudal levels. The environment, society, and democracy as we know it are entering turning points which will determine the future for generations to come. As the world rapidly continues to urbanize, the cities we stand to inherit are poised to exacerbate these issues or serve as the foundations for lasting solutions. It is in this setting, with our degrees in hand, that if we don't go out into the world and cause trouble, we are implicitly accepting the things as they are. In fact, causing trouble might be one of the most important professional decisions we can make. If you have any doubt, take a look at where not causing trouble has gotten us today. So in my end remarks, directly addressing my graduating class, with the skills you have learned, the connections you've made, and the experiences you've had along the way, there's no way to imagine the types of planners you're going to be or the things you'll accomplish. But the one thing I implore of you is to cause some serious trouble. What your degree signifies and what it means to be a UCLA-trained planner is that if anyone dares to escort you down from the street light of life, make sure to tell them, it's okay, I'm a planner. Thank you.
Only the planners. I'm very pleased today to introduce today's commencement speaker, the president and CEO of the Weingart Foundation, Mr. Fred Ali. Fred, of course, is distinguished by his more than 35 years of senior management experience with nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, and the governmental sector. And in this way, he certainly is among Southern California's most accomplished civic leaders. What a lot of people don't know is, of course, Fred started his work in Alaska. He was a teacher and a counselor in a small western Alaska village and worked across the state for many years, including serving as Vice Chancellor of the University of Alaska, Anchorage. I think the cold must have got you into our business while your brain wasn't quite thawed. But after a couple of decades in the Great White North, Fred made the move to a slightly more accommodating climate, taking the position of executive director at Covenant House here in Los Angeles. He grew the program, opened new locations, and today Covenant House in California is a vital resource for homeless youth across the state. Fred joined the Weingart Foundation in 1999, and through his leadership, the foundation has become one of the leading philanthropic institutions in our region. They help make lives better for low-income children, for older adults, for people affected by disabilities and homelessness, and over the last 4 decades, they have contributed over $900 million in grants to these causes. And including a non-trivial amount to UCLA. Fred, I think, also has, in many ways, revolutionized the way that philanthropy has worked here in Southern California, as the Weingart Foundation understood that two things had to happen with the nonprofit sector. One was that organizations needed core support. It was difficult for them to live on grant to grant to grant, and for many of you who are going to work in nonprofits, you'll understand this. Fred was one of the first and a leader among understanding that organizations needed core support so that they could then go out and be entrepreneurial about programmatic things. The second thing is that he understood that the nonprofit sector needed to build capacity and build capacity within these organizations. And in these ways, his leadership on these issues has fundamentally altered the scope of philanthropy here in Southern California. At UCLA Luskin, this has taken the form of supporting the UCLA Luskin Senior Fellow Program, which has been a tremendous program. I think, how many students out there have been matched with senior fellows while they've been here? Quite a few, and I think that's absolutely fabulous, and they can speak to it, but this program ties them with mentors, and they seek advice and mentorship and learn a great deal. Fred has been instrumental there. He's been instrumental in supporting the Luskin Center for Civil Society, which actually does groundbreaking research around the nonprofit sector here in Los Angeles. And through his work at Weingart, Fred has taken the lead on tackling the most significant challenges that face Los Angeles and the region. He's a tireless advocate, a valued civic leader, and I'm also fortunate to count him as a friend and a mentor to me. Fred is a true local hero. Ladies and gentlemen, Fred Ali.
Good morning. Let me just first start off by saying congratulations, students, and congratulations, faculty, on a great day. I also want to say congratulations to the parents. When the last of our 4 daughters graduated from college, it was one of the happiest moments of my life. And then God gave us grandchildren, and the college accounts has started again, but all for a good purpose. I also want to mention that, in all honesty, I'm a very candid individual. And, you know, when Dean Gilliam, when my friend Frank asked me to consider doing this address, I have to tell you, I thought, oh my God, how can I get out of this? I said, you know, I've always been wary of graduation addresses, a room full of students whose last thing you want is another lecture, right? But I'm going to try to be inspirational, and I also want to point out that I'm already very inspired. David, Kit, Ricky, you did a great job, and you certainly have inspired me, and so I hope to return the favor. I'm also, by way of introduction, I want to mention that I'm happy to finally wear the regalia from the University of Michigan. I unfortunately was not able to go to my graduation. I had to get back to go to work, so it's nice to finally wear the colors. Yeah, go blue. I like that. But when I'm in LA, I root for UCLA. You'll have to trust me on that. So where I want to start is by sharing a little bit about my convictions. I have always been driven, I think, in my work by the conviction that our world is not a very equitable place. And I imagine that many of you in this room, as I look on this graduating class, have similar convictions. I suspect that's why many of you have chosen the career path that you have. Frank mentioned that I had spent some time in Alaska. After undergraduate school, I went up to Alaska, and I saw inequality working firsthand as a volunteer working with Native people in Western Alaska. People who were struggling to maintain their language and their culture in the face of outside development. And quite frankly, at the time, it just struck me as another chapter in America's unfortunate, relentless suppression of its Aboriginal people. It was and still is not, sadly, a very equitable relationship. Later, I saw poverty and inequality play out on the streets of Los Angeles, working with homeless kids who had been abused and then abandoned by their families, or forced on the streets after being emancipated by the foster care system at the tender age of 18. When I came to Los Angeles in 1989, I literally spent the first year of that time virtually every night on the streets of Los Angeles, beginning my work with Covenant House. And we would go out every night and identify kids who were living on the streets, go into the abandoned buildings where they were squatting. It was an incredibly moving experience that taught me so much. I learned that so many of these kids really had not had a chance from the day they were born to the time they found themselves on the street. But I also learned that you could make a difference in the lives of these kids. In my current position at the Weingart Foundation, our work focuses on addressing issues of poverty and inequality throughout Southern California. Our nonprofit partners, whose missions, by the way, are raised up on a regular basis by the Center for Civil Society here at UCLA at the Luskin School. These nonprofit organizations are challenged by a shattered, disappearing safety net and increasing demand for service, but they work nonetheless on a daily basis to address issues related to homelessness, chronic unemployment, health care, and an often inadequate educational system. So I have this wonderful vantage point to watch this heroic work unfold on a daily basis, and it truly is heroic and tremendous work. As you all well know, inequality has been steadily increasing in America, and today it's at record levels. In his important book, The Price of Inequality, Nobel laureate in economics Joseph Stiglitz writes that today the United States has less equality of opportunity than any other advanced industrial country. Stiglitz goes on to note that while social mobility is not impossible, in America it's becoming a statistical oddity. The life prospects of an American are more dependent on the income and education of his or her parents than in almost any other advanced country. Hedrick Smith, a journalist, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who I understand was recently here at Luskin, has raised similar concerns in his book with a provocative title, Who Stole the American Dream? Smith writes that like Greece and Rome, the most dangerous challenge for America today comes from within, from the rifts and the schisms that we have allowed to develop within our economy and body politic. So where's this all going? So now as I think back on my career, it's sort of the back end of my career, if you will, all of which has been spent in some form of public service, quite frankly, I'm finding myself asking the question, has my work had any impact? A couple months ago, on the anniversary of Martin Luther King's famous letter from Birmingham jail, I listened to a colleague and well-known civil rights attorney and activist actually apologize to the generation to come for not doing more to successfully address injustices in our society. And it reminded me of an experience that I had during a recent trip to Chicago. I found myself looking down on Grant Park from a hotel window. the scene of the 1968 Democratic National Convention riots. I had been one of the protesters in Grant Park during that time, and I remember well the sting of the tear gas, the smell of the tear gas, but more importantly, I remember how frightened I was when the National Guard marched in, armed against its own citizens. It was a very formative experience in my life, and in many ways propelled me to the career that I've had. But as I looked out that window in Chicago, I too sort of tasted a bit of melancholy, thinking about something again that Martin Luther King had written. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. But why are so many people in America still waiting? Levels of poverty and disparities in wealth, income, and equality of opportunity are still unacceptably high for a country with our resources. So as someone who has worked in this field, our field, your field, for a long time, let me first say that I too am sorry. I wish that those of us from my activist generation could have handed over an easier time of it to those of you who are just getting started. But that's not the case. There's been progress, but there's a lot more to be done. Social change, as you know, is too often an iterative process that moves forward, then backward. I guess it's really hard to feel satisfied when, in the midst of America's wealth, we still see so many homeless people, too many children in our foster care system, and not enough good people like yourselves who really seem to care. In his last inaugural address, President Obama noted that we understand that our country cannot succeed when a shrinking few do very well and a growing many barely make it. So sadly, inequality has become a stubborn feature in our society, and it's an issue that we should all feel some urgency to address. But I feel honored today and inspired today to be speaking in front of all of you because I understand, especially hearing the student addresses, talking to you before the graduation, I understand that you feel this sense of urgency too. I applaud you for the career choices you're making. We desperately need people like you who will be engaged in work leveling this playing field. But first, let's not forget how fortunate we are. We are, all of us. As David Brooks recently noted in the New York Times, the social fabric for people without a college degree is in shambles. I subscribe to the idea, and I assume that many of you do as well, that for those of us who have been given much, much is expected in return. My father, a first-generation immigrant from southern Italy, never let me and my brothers and sisters forget this when we were growing up, and I hope and I suspect you'll never forget that as well. That's why you've maybe chosen the careers that you have. Second, let me again applaud you for choosing both a noble and difficult profession. Public service, social work, fixing our urban and regional centers are not easy roads to travel. Issues of racism, poverty, and family dysfunction, environmental neglect do not go away easily. And the normal, established way of solving these problems does not always work. Therapist Brené Brown, who has become famous for her TED Talks on vulnerability and shame, maintains that allowing yourself to become vulnerable, to embrace risk and possible failure, is the birthplace for innovation and creativity. I heard our student speakers echo this same thought today. Give yourself permission to do exactly this. Embrace risk and potential failure in order to achieve your goals and realize your dreams. Make occasionally one of those decisions, those uninformed decisions. I suspect that most of you have spent a good part of your life playing by the rules, doing what's expected, accepting and conforming to boundaries. I don't mean that as as a criticism. I've done it myself. We all do from time to time. But now it's time to really think about what kind of impact you want in your life. To think about stepping beyond that neat little world that we create for ourselves and fully embrace the diversity and challenges of a wholly engaged life. My generation of activists, quite frankly, didn't always do this, allowing ego, ambition, frustration, and cynicism to rob them occasionally of their strength and persistence to continue the fight. My friend and colleague Ken Brecker, the president of the Los Angeles Library Foundation, former president of the Sundance Institute, likes to talk about the importance of passion and persistence in the pursuit of the common good. Passion and persistence. These are traits that we often associate with social innovation. And social innovators, and I have to believe, I know I'm speaking to some social innovators. You're too talented, you've received a great education, you know who you are. You refuse to accept things as they are. You choose different pathways and forge new and creative solutions to our most vexing problems. As Brené Brown suggests, you allow yourself to become vulnerable and accept risk and possible failure. Again, this is the birthplace of innovation and real change. So finally, if you'll indulge me, I want to leave you with some questions that I borrow from two interesting and unlikely individuals for me, John Izzo, an organizational psychologist, as well as the evangelical pastor, Rick Warren. As I said, sort of a strange combination, but it works for me. I hope it works for you. I gave, in fact, a copy of Rizzo's book to my adult children not too long ago, and they all thought I had completely lost my mind with all this pop psychology. And I noticed that when I would be over their homes, that the book didn't look read, but eventually they got to it and finally told dear old Dad that they found it interesting and helpful. So I hope you will as well. These are questions that I have decided I've settled on to guide my life. I had an opportunity not too long ago to take a 3-month sabbatical, and I spent some time in contemplation and meditation, quite frankly, thinking about the rest of my life and what I wanted to do with it. And these are some questions that kept coming back to me that were borrowed from these two sources. First, what is the true purpose of your life? What is the thing that drives you more than anything else? Is it your family? Is it your career? Your children? Sex? Money? What is it? Author and reformer John Gardner often said that in order to build meaning in your life, often said that we need to build, meaning into our life, and we build meaning through the commitments we make. For example, through our work, through our careers, through the relationships we form. I suspect that most of you in this graduating class have made the decision you have for your careers, for your life, because of some deeper meaning you attach to your life. I certainly hope that's the case. Never lose sight of why you chose this work in the first place and how your commitments reinforce that purpose in your life. Purpose and the commitments you make will sustain you during the tough times and give you great joy in the good times. Second, as you move through your life and career, you might also consider this next question. Are you engaged in work, activity, and relationships that allow you to live that purpose? In other words, are you free to become that vulnerable, risk-taking person that will birth the innovation and change you really desire and really need? Now, I realize that we're not always going to be in jobs or situations or relationships that are perfect, exactly what we want. But the important thing is, I think, is to keep asking yourself that question. And then finally, from time to time, I think it's important to ask this last question, and I have always found this is the most difficult of the three. If this was your last day and you had the ability to look back, what would your life look like if it had been lived without regret? In the last days of my father's life, I got the sense, watching him, that he was asking himself this very question. And joyfully, I think he seemed pleased with the answer he was getting. I wish the same thing for my life, and I certainly wish the same thing for your life. I also want to return to something else that John Gardner wrote. Life is tumultuous, an endless losing and regaining of balance, a continuous struggle, never an assured victory. An endless losing and regaining of balance, a continuous struggle, never an assured victory. Earlier, I mentioned that some of us in my activist generation felt bad that we had not seen greater reductions in poverty and inequality in the world. As Gardner notes, life doesn't, however, always go the way we want, and each success seems to lead to more challenges. In other words, we should learn not to be too hard on ourselves. Going back to the question I raised earlier, I know that my life has had impact, and I know that the work that so many colleagues that I've watched over the years has also had impact. I think the important thing, though, is that we keep asking ourselves these questions, that we not lose touch with the meaning and commitments that we build into our life. I have found that the bigger questions that we need desperately to take time and ask ourselves from time to time force us to put our life into a larger context that can be helpful at keeping things on track and in maintaining balance and meaning in our life. I am truly inspired by your presence today. I applaud your willingness to engage in the hard work of public service. As Martin Luther King wrote, oppressed people should not remain oppressed forever, and therefore I implore you never to give up the fight, and most importantly, never give up on yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred, for these very inspiring remarks. And now, we are going to present our doctoral candidates. And yesterday night, the university, in a special hooding ceremony, conferred their degrees, but we would also like to recognize them here. And first, I would like to ask Chair Todd Franke to present the social welfare doctoral candidates.
It is with the greatest pleasure that I would like to call to the stage the social welfare PhD faculty advisors and their doctoral candidates.
Greetings and congratulations. I am proud to present on behalf of Chair Stuart Kirk, Jacqueline Leah Jones, and her dissertation title is The Effect of Risk Assessment Data and Colleagues' Consensus on Clinical Decisions to Discharge Insanity Acquittals. We are very fortunate that she will be bringing her knowledge to Patton State Hospital to make sure that insanity acquittees are not discharged prematurely. So congratulations.
Good morning. I'm Lene Levy-Storms, and it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Lin Chen, The title of her dissertation is The Decision to Institutionalize Among Nursing Home Residents and Their Children in Shanghai. Dr. Chen is actively on the job market and hopes to have a position in the United States in academia. Congratulations, Dr. Chen.
Hello, I'm Ted Benjamin, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you David Howard. Dave has completed a doctoral dissertation entitled Human Services in a Market Economy, Implications of Program Fee Reliance Among Nonprofit Human Service Organizations. In today's celebration, Dave has asked me to thank his family for their continuing support, his wife, Rima, and his children, Nathaniel and Leah. Dave and his family have moved to New York City, where he is now Director of Research and Innovation at the Doe Fund, a foundation addressing the needs of the homeless and others. And next year, he will also join NYU's School of Social Work as an adjunct faculty member. My warmest congratulations to Dr. David Howard.
Xin chào quý vị. Hello to everyone and welcome. Tôi xin giới thiệu tiến sĩ Hannah Wing. I introduce you, Dr. Hannah Wing. This is a very momentous day, in part because Hannah is completing her year with me and completing her dissertation, but also because it is 23 years since Hannah came with her family and left Vietnam, spent 3 years in a refugee camp in Indonesia, then came here to settle in the United States. I have been very pleased to work with Hannah over this year as both her teacher and a learner. She has completed her dissertation, which is called Bounded Within These Four Walls, The Experiences of First-Generation Vietnamese Americans Living with Depression Among Post-Traumatic Stress and with Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder. Hannah will complete this journey and begin a new journey as a postdoctoral working with Professor Anna Lau, and so I'm very pleased to present to you Hannah Wing.
I'm pleased to present to you Dr. Fei Wu. Dr. Wu's dissertation is entitled Linking Heroin Users in China to Drug Treatment and Other Resources in the Community, Effect of a Recovery Management Intervention Model. Fei is a finalist for academic research positions at 2 universities in North America. Congratulations, Dr. Wu. Let me present to you Dr. Jasmine Inez Zane. Dr. Zane's dissertation is entitled Examining the Paradox of Obesity Among Food Stamp Recipients in California. Jasmine has begun a position as an academic institutional research analyst at Pepperdine University. Congratulations, Dr. Zane.
And now I would like to ask Chair Lois Takahashi to present the PhD, they're no longer candidate, the doctor in urban planning.
It is my pleasure to call to the stage the Urban Planning PhD faculty advisors and their doctoral candidates. Oops. Stand right here. I'm still telling Don Trinell what to do. All right, I'd like to introduce Dr. Don Trinell Dante Claiborne. His dissertation was entitled Owner-Drivers in the Trotro Industry, a Look at Jitney Service Provision in Accra, Ghana. He is currently a lecturer at Santa Monica College. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Don Trinell Claiborne. As you can tell, I'm not very good at this. Okay, Peter? So I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Peter J. Wong. His dissertation is entitled Hurdling Barriers, Labor and Employment Experiences of Asian Americans with Disabilities. He's currently the Director of Research for the nonprofit organization Asians and Pacific Islanders with Disabilities of California. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Peter Wong.
Good morning, I'm Brian Taylor, the proud advisor of Andrew Monshine. If you discovered something interesting wandering around Los Angeles the last couple of days, you'll want to read Andrew's dissertation, The Personal City, the Experiential Cognitive Nature of Travel and Activity. Andrew is just finishing a visiting faculty position at the University of Pennsylvania, and this fall he begins a tenure-track assistant professor of urban and environmental planning at the University of Virginia. Please join me in congratulating Andrew.
I would like to introduce you to Ezra's mother, Maureen Pertil. Maureen just finished a fascinating study looking at how vulnerable women find empowerment. Her dissertation is titled Transforming the Borders of Citizenship, Domestic Worker Organizing from the Ground Up. She will continue as program director at ALMAS, Alianza Mujeres Activas y Solidarias, or the Women's Action and Solidarity Alliance. Congratulations, Dr. Maureen Pertil. I'd like you to meet Ramon Núñez de la Mora. Ramon has just finished an epic work on Mexico entitled, and I have to take a deep breath for this, The Distorted Transformation of Mexico, Arbitralism and Developmentalism and Capital Capitalism and Subcapitalism, a pathway towards balancing capitalism and balanced development, or DEM development. Ramon is currently being vetted for a position as Director of Urban Development and Institutional Relations with the Mexican Development Bank in Mexico City. Congratulations, Dr. Ramon Nunez de la Mora.
And last but not least, I'm delighted to introduce to you Dr. Linda Samuels. The title of her dissertation was Reinventing Infrastructure, the 101 Freeway and the Re-envisioning of Downtown Los Angeles. Linda is on the faculty of the University of Arizona, and she's the director of the Sustainable City Project. Please help me congratulate Linda Samuels, Dr. Linda Samuels. So going from one mic to the other, because VC told me that I shouldn't stay there, so here we go. So I would now we are now going to present the candidates for the Master of Public Policy, and I would like to ask Professor and Chair Michael Stoll and Professor Sarah Reber to present the candidates. Dean Gilliam will confer the degrees.
Will the candidates for the Master of Public Policy please rise? And the good Dean Gilliam, I present to you the candidates for the Master of Public Policy, and on behalf of my faculty colleagues from the Department of Public Policy, I certify that these candidates have fulfilled the degree requirements for the Master of Public Policy.
By the power vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I bestow upon you the degree of Master of Public Policy and all the rights and privileges thereof. Congratulations.
Nicholas Joseph Mihedjevich. Bo Wen. Wu Yunlu. Yang Chen. Lingxi Liu. Huatian Li. Shindrao Li. Ada Lingjun Peng. Jing Meng. Ayla Yuchuan Yao. Stephen Curtis Collette. Jennifer Lar. Nobuku Goto. Chloe Cornuajols. Asma Hassana Men. Jonathan Overman. Cody Renault. Soledad de Gregorio. Alexandra Consuelo Mendoza. Lindsay Miracle. Jennifer Kinney Binstock. Aaron Steva. Jeremy Furong Ma. Masaki Kishi. Brad Rowe. Thomas Garifo. Brandon Joseph Dowling. Jessica Padilla. Jocelyn Chi. Thomas Daniel Polis. Masashi Sato. Alexander Braithwaite. Laura Catherine Rivas. Caroline Susanna Murrah. Ray Lee. Jared Irwin. David Cho. Gregory Lee Mall. Ryan Joseph Hudson. Celeste Justine Miller. Leela Hayatavudi. Erica Monique Quintana. Vanessa Soma.
Congratulations, Masters of Public Policy. And now we're going to present the candidates for the Master of Social Welfare. Chair Todd Franke and Professors Rosina Becerra and Gary Lavinia will present the candidates, and Dean Gilliam will confer the degree.
Will the candidates for the Masters of Social Welfare please rise? Dean Gilliam, I present to you the candidates for the Masters of Social Welfare. On behalf of the faculty of the Department of Social Welfare, I certify that these candidates have fulfilled rigorous requirements for the MSW degree.
Chair Franke, by the power vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I bestow upon you the degree of Master of Social Welfare and all the rights and privileges thereof. Congratulations.
Ian Bohannon. Elizabeth Schaefer. Allison Sky Reynolds. Gregory Charlton Flackman. Marisol Sanchez. Matana Cabanes. Ariel Camacho. Lizette Cardenas. Elena Marie Sanchez. Lisbeth Antonio Hernandez. Carmen Tina Figueroa. Brunleo Villarreal. Leticia Roman. Stephanie Bernavides. Adriana Arizon. Jessica Marie Montemeo. Vanessa Luna Delgadillo. Cynthia Patricia Rosado. Yushi Karen Tang. Adeline Arandanido. Laura Michelle Green. Jeanette Arlene Robbins. Joanna Tolley. Amy Rivas. Bethabel Estudio. Elizabeth Salcido Luna. Eva Grenier. Raquel Fernandez Bernaldo. Cindy Dorado Ponce. Dorate Jacobson.
Mora Darrow. Adriana Campos. Danielle Yocono. Kyle McCurdy. Catherine Levitt. Patty Chung. Marissa Mina Lee. Andrew Harrison Lewis. Liam Mina. Anthony DiMartino. Morgan Holland. Costanza Whitwood. Hey. Temkit Tunho Jenkins. Anna Miller. Sarah Pilgreen. Courtney Bleacher. Yunha Su. Diana Uribe. Laura Ackerman. Elaine Wittert. Jennifer Lynn. Valentina Alvarez. Shan Khajadurian. Norma Garcia. Diane Zalifian. Hazel Tercero. Lauren Stockley. Crystal Irving. Fiona McHenry. Priya Chakrabarti. Alyssa Albee. Marianne Chua. Tanling Su. Taylor Randall. Dana Rolfness. Alexis Riley. Anna Sorensen. Ashley DeBon. Stephanie Chen. Amanda McKeel. Nicole Kessler. Franklin Bolanos. Christina Lee. Catherine Paletta. Emily Kent. Caitlin Percival. Adriana Diaz. Megan Coulter. Navasa Hilbert. Mariana Tukoski. Jenny Williams. Stephanie Mushrush. Tiana Khaleesi. Larissa Tirado. Yuana Sana. Gloria Bitna Choi. Anna Rubin. Kara Lumpa. Anna Foreman. Faith Granitz. Congratulations, MSWs.
Wow, okay. Go MSW. So Now it is the time to present the Masters of Urban and Regional Planning candidates. Chair Lois Takahashi and Professor Michael Lenz will present the candidates, and Dean Gilliam will confer the degrees.
Will the candidates for Master of Urban and Regional Planning please stand? Dean Gilliam, I present to you the candidates for the Master of Urban and Regional Planning. On behalf of the faculty of the Department of Urban Planning, I certify that these candidates have fulfilled the rigorous requirements of the MERP degree. We trained them to say that.
Yeah. By the power vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I bestow upon you the degree of Master of Urban and Regional Planning and all rights and privileges thereof. Congratulations.
Lucero E. Herrera. Alberto Manuel Ramirez. Osvaldo Guillermo Garcia. Silvia Jimenez. Diana Gonzalez Gonzalez. Hector Gutierrez. Eden Silvia Hequito. Hillary Ann Wilson. Chloe Virginia Green. Amalia May Marino. Robert Charles Rich. Haejong Yu. Sophia Kim. Jaden Choi. Quan Wan. Jiren Zhu. Wenchong Lai. Sungchul Song. Chirag Anil Rabari. Miriam Lourdes Torres. Daniela Simonovich. Jenalee Catherine Obergfell. Genevieve Roldan Hernandez. Joan Bao Lee. Eric Agar. Win Tam No. Julia Lemberkova. Cheryl Deutsch. Lila Elena Burgos. Rachel Miriam Neumann. Kelly Teresa Reitel. Henry Howland McCann. Austin Chin Sauce. Carter Cheadle Rubin. Drew Prentice Baldwin. Jalon Shireen Bruce. Justin Lee. Youngjoon Kim. Rachel Ann Cushing Bennett. Jackie K. Murdoch. Heather Margaret Jones. Justin H. Resnick. Kristen Elise Figueroa. Vina Samartha Shihantz. Kathy Tran. Julia Pasciuto. Laura Allen Benjamin. Gabriel Demi Peterson. Clarine Tanya Obando Lacruz. Ricky Danger Russell. Erica T. Patterson. Gary Ray Benjamin Jr. India Brookover Coleman. Taylor Fitzgibbon. Diana Eliza Ionescu. Eric Johnson. Aaron E. Schlitz. Brian Thomas Unser. Jamie Sue Jackson. Leah Celeste Murphy. Tamar Sarkeesian. Nora Haycock-Zadeh. Jamie Marie Kennedy. Nicholas Zuniga Salinas. Alba Maria Peña Leon. Myra Christina Navarro. Paula Andrea Basignana. Nicholas Efron. Zachary Robert Zubel. Lisa Marie Glancy. Zachary Ellison Ream. Merps.
Congratulations, UCLA Luskin alums. In closing, I'd like to thank all of you for coming. I want to give a special thanks to the university organist, Christoph Bull, Professor Christoph Bull. We are always extremely grateful for his wonderful contribution. I'd like to recognize and thank our esteemed faculty. A big thank you to my friend, Mr. Fred Ali, for his very insightful remarks. And once again, I salute you, the new Luskin alums. I encourage you to stay in touch. As you know, we have something called Luskin Online. It's an online community made exclusively for UCLA Luskin alumni. You'll be able to connect with your fellow alums, look for jobs, post updates about new opportunities you encounter as you launch your careers. So this has been a wonderful and special day. I am asked to remind the guests, please remain seated until the recessional is complete. The faculty will leave, students and then guests. There will be a reception outside in the plaza where there will be refreshments. There'll no stiff drinks. Well, for most of us, I guess. And again, and thank you all for coming. Congratulations.